Party podcast. I'd just like to start by thanking our sponsor, Sunday Body. Their new range of whipped shower foams are yours to grab if you wanted to jump on www.sundaybody, that's Sunday as in ice cream.com. And you guys, we've merged onto the podcast world.
Why
Why are you giggling?
Dani?
Okay, I'm giggling because
What?
Lily just farted so much and I'm just wondering if you guys can hear it.
Oh my god, I don't think I could hear it, but that's
I'm like crying. God, sorry about that, guys. If you can hear it, it's just
baby
Lily. I
farts.
promise. Oh God.
Well, welcome, Willie.
Anyways.
So I'm Ali, Daisy, Dani. We're all here. I just wanted to know an update on everyone, where they're at, what they're doing, what's going on. Dani?
So I'm still in Sydney. I actually just got my results from my first semester for uni, and I just passed all 4 subjects. Yay! And I got 2 distinctions actually.
That's amazing!
Congratulations!
Thank
That
you.
is so good.
I'm really stoked about that. At least 6 months, 1 semester is done. I'm with Lily, just enjoying life. She got her shots yesterday, so she's a bit grumpy today. So I'm sorry if you hear any more farts or any cries.
She's making her presence known.
Exactly. She just want to make sure you guys can hear that she's here. Yeah, that's it. We're locked down in Sydney, and now it's even worse. Now we can't have more than 2 people in a household. We can't have 2 people leaving the house to go shopping. Only 1 person at a time can go. We're proper in prison now.
I did see a news article pop up at, saying you guys had another surge overnight, and that even though they just announced another 7 days, I just saw that you've got even tighter restrictions. It's like, oh my God, this is just insanity.
This is so silly. Literally, the whole world is walking towards being normal, and we're just walking backwards to restricting everything.
Why are you so slow with your vaccines?
Because
people don't want to get the vaccines.
Australia thought the reason they didn't invest in the vaccinations is because we've had these really strict restrictions, especially with our travel limitations. So they've created this wall that they think is going to protect us, and they haven't put the funding into the vaccinations. And then also exactly what Dani said, people don't want to get vaccinated unless they have to. So most people that I've spoken to have said they don't want to get vaccinated unless it's going to mean they can travel. So they need to give some sort of incentive. I've seen overseas some places are giving like free marijuana and like a free chicken and Bali villages and like random incentives like that. So maybe Australia needs to come up with something creative.
I reckon if Australia gives free weed, people will definitely vaccinate. We'll have 100% by tomorrow.
Especially New South Wales in the hinterland.
Yeah. Daisy, what are you up to?
Me, I am in France. I'm about to join a boat temping for about 2 months.
France, that's fancy.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. What's
jealous of the cheap wine?
Yeah, it's lush. Yeah, it's super sunny, hot.
Is it warm?
I'm loving it.
Oh, it's so cold.
Yeah, it's really warm. Yeah, it's
so
super warm. It's like proper summer.
It's 12 degrees at the moment here, so...
It was 3 degrees this morning here in Melbourne.
Oh my gosh, it's so
I
weird.
love the cold. What I don't like is getting up in the middle of the night to feed Lily in the cold.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'm not looking forward to that part. My house is really cold. It's like all floorboards.
What are you up to, Ali? Apart from feeling cold?
Apart from feeling cold in like this brisk Melbourne winter, I am still in Australia. I'm still in Melbourne. I've just entered the 3rd trimester a week ago. So I'm into the nitty-gritty part of my pregnancy, and I'm starting to really suffer when it comes to trying to sleep at night, and I'm doing Benny's head in so badly. I feel really bad for him. We've got a 2nd bedroom with another bed, so I've been moving into that bed quite a lot at night because I'm just a nightmare to sleep with at the moment. I'm so uncomfortable.
Oh, Did you get a pillow, one of those big pregnancy pillows?
Yeah, I've just ordered one actually. I did a Q&A on my Insta and got a lot of really good recommendations and of brands and things that I need must buys for pregnancy and baby. So yeah, I've just got that sorted. Definitely it's one of those things you kind of like try and put off. Like I've been putting off buying maternity clothes. I'm just trying to squeeze into my like my baggy outfits. And yeah, I've got to just do it. Just splurge now.
Yeah, I bought 2 pregnancy leggings, and that's what I lived in the last few months.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Because
Exactly.
the good thing with the legs is that you can use them after, because they stretchy, so they will be fine to use after as well. So it's not like it's just for the pregnancy. So I guess you can justify buying them.
Oh, that's cool. That's good to know. At least it's not going to go to waste. Yeah, I don't plan on
Yeah.
having another kid anytime soon after this.
I already
haven't
gave away my maternity clothes because I don't think I'll have any babies anymore. So.
Just you and Lily, just the two of us.
Me and Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, you
Except
are.
I'm much
That's
older.
Cute.
Oh.
Yeah, but you look young, so
Anyways,
that's okay.
Yeah.
So our topic for today is let's talk about sex, baby. We are talking about moments or experiences that we've had with generally it comes to the older generation versus our generation. We seem to be a little bit more verbal about our sexual openness and our sexuality, and we're a lot more comfortable in general conversation. So we're going to have a bit of discussion about that and the dynamics of how faux pas it used to be to talk about sex at a dinner table, and maybe it's not so much anymore.
Sorry, what's sex?
Wait, how?
I think I might need an explanation on that before we talk about it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I remember anymore.
Daisy, so you did a Q&A. How did that go?
Yeah, so I got a tweet. I couldn't do it on my Instagram because my Instagram was busy. Let me find it. So someone said, yeah, my grandparents were in the generation of cocktail parties that turned into swingers parties, which I'm guessing she means like the 1920s. They never talked about sex, but I guarantee you they were having more sex than Gen Z is, which I think is a pretty valid point.
I think the thing is, like, obviously I feel like they were quite free about having sex, just not about talking about it.
Yeah, it seems that way. My dad, he is super conservative. On my dad's side of the family, everyone is very strict Catholic. They're very modest, they're very conservative. My mum and my mum's side of the family are very free and open. So my experience with that type of generational Passover in making it feel inappropriate or faux pas when you're talking about sex is more so coming from my dad's side. There is no way in hell I would be open as I am about talking about sex around my dad. But filming Below Deck definitely took that little shield of privacy away from me. And
Yeah.
Dani, I'm sure the same thing with you.
Well, my mom, Brazil is a very Catholic country. And I never even talked about sex with my mom. She never, like, everything I know, I learned, when you're young and you have your parents talking to you about sex and all that. I never had that. And I don't even kiss my boyfriends in front of my mom. That's how, it's not because she ever told me not to, it's because I don't feel comfortable doing it, And I know I just did a lot on TV, but my mom doesn't speak English and she did not watch the show, so.
Oh, that's lucky for you. Definitely lucky. Even like when I did some the first podcast that I did following the show, when they wanted to talk about the hookup between you and I, Dani, was me coming out to the media as a pansexual, because they love to put labels and they love to put headlines. So even that, when I do an interview, so like most of the time I'll reshare the interview on my social media. That was one thing that I've done a couple of podcasts where they have asked me about that, and they've asked me about my sexuality, and they've asked me about hooking up with a woman on TV, and it has definitely been something that I haven't been comfortable sharing, because I don't have that security, that privacy. But if I'm sitting around with you guys, of course I'm going to talk as openly as I want about like what I'm getting up to behind closed doors, because I'm pretty open about that type of thing. But I mean,
Yeah.
being in the public eye, it just kind of it made me realize, oh wow, I still definitely do feel insecure about talking about sex.
But I think there's a level of like discretion and respect as well. Like in my house, we're obviously Irish and it's obviously a strict Catholic country as well. And we kind of had a weird, like my parents wouldn't talk to me about sex. Everything I learned was from friends and TV as well. They never sat me down. But then now we would, but we wouldn't go into it. I wouldn't talk about my sex. Like I wouldn't talk about what I do, but I would say like to my parents, I would say like I slept with this guy and now he's got, crying and being like, he's gone off with this girl or whatever. And they're really nice to me, including my dad. They're like, he's an asshole or whatever. And I'm very open to saying like we were having sex. But obviously I'm not gonna go into the kind of nitty gritty of it. And I like to think that if I was bi or gay, I think they would be fine about it. So it's a, but then, and then when it came to like, Dani, you're saying kissing a guy, I haven't brought that many guys home, but when I have, we got into a huge argument, massive, about my boyfriend. And for me, I think my upbringing was a bit confusing because they were okay about sex, but then they weren't okay. Then they were okay. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm either allowed to have sex or you're okay with it or you're not. So, but my dad was always fine about it. So I remember going into my dad being like, she's saying that my boyfriend can't sleep in my room about my stepmom. My dad's like, I don't give a fuck. He's like, stop arguing. Just leave me alone. Because I was like out in the living room, like I don't know what, like a diseased person. I'm like, what the hell? My dad was fine about it. So I don't know. I think I don't know, it's difficult. I think like with you not talking about your sexuality, I think that's because you don't want to talk about maybe sex. Like even if you're talking about straight sex, you're not going to sit here and start going into details about like your sex with that. You know what I mean? Am I making sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
think
I
it's
know
just
what you mean.
explaining. Like, we don't want to sit here and explain, I guess, as well. Like, be like, oh, I did this because of this. And, it's just like, yeah, it happened. We did it and whatever.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
that
think
those
that's what it is
yeah,
not
it's
so much.
that inquisitive mind that is going into like that intimate personal part, where I'll talk about that with, you know, my friends, my close friends, one on one, but I'm not going to be just telling anyone the nitty gritty details of a sexual experience that I had,
Yeah.
because
I don't
that's
think
an
it matters that
intimate thing.
it's Yeah, I don't think it matters for you. I think you think you're insecure about it, but I think it's more about the whole sex thing, whether it's a male or a female. Nobody should be really asking those intimate questions.
I mean, yes, definitely. But in addition, I do know that it does make my dad super uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
And I do know that it would make my grandparents super uncomfortable. It's just, I guess, when it comes down to not just like the difference in generation, but also the religion and how seriously you take Catholicism, and obviously the Bible doesn't condone same-sex relationships. So then it comes down to all of that like hairy side of it. That is just a side of things that I just completely do not like connect with on any level. It's not, yeah, it doesn't resonate with me at all. To The Bible says a lot of things, and I may get absolutely blasted for this, but I am not someone who uses the Bible as Bible. It's not something, the Old Testament especially. I mean, the way that they talk about women and disrespect women, and I'm going into a bit too serious of a topic now, but it's just that side of things that I can't really relate to, but I do know that there is something coming from that when it comes to same-sex relationships.
I feel like our generation as well, at least my friends and people our age, they're much less religious. I don't know any people our age that are very religious or they follow a religion very, like, everything they say.
Neither do
As in, like,
I.
my grandma would, but I don't know anybody now that it's like a very big Catholic or it's a very big whatever religion. Like, most of the people that I know, they actually don't have a religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going out of fashion big time. We have COVID to replace. It's all about control.
You need to control the masses.
Everyone's religion.
Yeah. It's all about control. But yeah, religion's a touchy subject. But I kind of agree with you were saying, Dani, earlier, that I think the older generation were definitely having more sex than we were, but we just talk about it more.
Do you think?
So
because there's a lot of there is a lot of like wild sex parties going on. There's a lot of experimentation. There is like a lot of my friends are working like in the industry, like they're strippers in that sex work industry. So maybe I'm just more exposed because of the type of people that I have around me. I've got an eclectic dynamic, but there is some wild stuff going on out there, like things that you could never come up with on your own. And I guess there's the development of like watching porn and seeing the wild things that are happening in porn, and then losing the satisfaction from watching like crazy porn and then going out and having to find something to up it.
Yeah,
porn has destroyed everything.
I know. Everyone thinks it's normal to get. I mean, I'm like I'll admit I'm not opposed to it, but it's such a common thing for people to strangle each other while they're having sex. Like, I feel like that every one of my friends is like into that nowadays.
But I don't think that's necessarily from porn. I think that was there before porn.
I mean,
like,
I just sort
of strangulation anyway, but it definitely porn has ruined. There's an amazing podcast. I have to think of oh crap, I'm gonna have to think of the name. I'm gonna have to Google it and tweet it or whatever. You girls should listen to it. It's incredible, and it's about the porn industry, and I think it's like the Spider's Web or something. Anyway, it's just amazing, and he goes into interviewing all these people, and he kind of goes on a tangent. But it's exactly that, how the porn industry has ruined sex lives for so many people.
Yeah, I think it's sort
just
of like
expectations.
Yeah, it's kind of, you become a little bit desensitized to a point, and porn is so accessible, it's so free and it's so accessible. I mean, you can go on Instagram and sign up to someone's OnlyFans in like the click, and you would just be thinking that you're scrolling your notifications, but it's just so accessible now. So
I had a friend who said something about someone. I'll text it to you girls, but they were like, "Oh, I say they're shit in bed," and I was like, "Really? Why?" And he was like, "Oh, she definitely thinks she's a porn star." And I was like, God, yeah, I couldn't think of anything worse than like having sex with someone. They're like, yeah, like,
oh my God. And the squealing,
squealing. If I ever watch porn and I hear the squealing, I literally have to mute it. I'm like, I can't. It's the most disgusting noise, and every woman does the exact same
squealing
noise
for me because I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like
just like over the top,
high pitch,
obnoxious, really girly, high pitched and obnoxiously loud and over the top. Like they've literally touched their nipples and like, oh my God. It's like, all right, relax.
Like they're trying to sound like they're in pain, and it's meant to be like good pain, but they actually sound like they're in pain. I'm like, oh my God, is she okay? I'm like, it's really distracting. Dani, you should go
just
on
stop
and
what
just
you're
watch
doing
a bit
and you
of
go
porn.
like, sorry, are you okay? Oh, I watch a lot of porn. Not at the moment, but...
And it's the faces. I'm like, if I was having sex with her and she's like... And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, oh
my God. We need that clip. We need that clip of your face just now because it was so accurate.
Dani, go on and watch it. I'm talking about 20 seconds and you'll know straight away what we're talking about. It's every bloody porn site or every bloody porn video or whatever. It's so distracting. I'm like, So then when this guy said it about this girl, I was like, yeah, it must be awful when guys have sex with someone and the girls have watched porn and they think this is what
They
you
think
do.
that that's what the guys want. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually gone onto Pornhub and I've written slow romantic sex. I've literally
No.
searched for that because I'm trying to avoid the squealing. Like, I'm not kidding.
Just mute it. I just mute it. I'm like, I can't listen to
That
it.
is a porn website for women, so they don't have those weird stuff.
Oh, what's it called?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Sign me up.
Okay, so we have a few things we need to Google after this.
I'll make a playlist.
But I think what is the girl from Summer House? The comedian one.
Hannah.
I think she made an ad for a female porn website. So you have like more cool stuff, and real stuff instead of those fake.
But I would
for
love
men
to know
things.
if guys are turned on by that. 'Cause honestly, I find it really distracting.
think
Like
they
she
are.
really looks in pain. And the noise is really high pitched, and the face is not sexy. And they're like grabbing her mouth, and they're like, and I'm like, oh my god, this is not sexy. It's awful.
Have you had a man doing noises like that, or have a man doing noises that put you off?
Yeah.
I
I've
like
had men
it.
smile at me.
Smile. What?
Smile during sex is the most unsexy thing. I'm like,
Huh?
oh, what's he smiling at? I'm like,
What the hell? I don't.
you know, when a
understand.
guy can have sex with you from behind, sometimes I wish I could have sex with him from behind because I don't want to see his face. I'm like, why is he
We've
making
all
those
been
weird
there.
faces at me?
Oh my!
I'd just like to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Sunday Body. Their new range of whipped shower foams are here to shake up your shower routine. I love these because their foaming action is really convenient when you're on charter and you don't have a lot of time. You feel like taking a bath and it makes your shower time a lot more luxurious. It comes in 4 delicious dessert-inspired flavors: very vanilla, cherry on top, orange crush, and juicy pear. Now, if you jump onto all 3 of our Instagrams, we're doing a giveaway. So check that out. And if you want to purchase their product, just go to Sunday Body, and that's Sunday as in ice cream sunday.com, and back to the podcast.
You know what is the weirdest thing?
What?
No, that was okay. So since we're talking about this, let's talk about the weirdest thing that happened that turned you off. Because I met this guy once, right? And I know people might like this, but for me, that was the biggest, weirdest thing. And I just literally got up and left. So we were there kissing and stuff. And he put his face away from my face. And he wanted to spit in my mouth from a distance. Like, literally, he wanted his spit to dangle to my mouth. And I was like,
Okay. I
gotta go.
I have done that, and I'm into it. I'm admitting it.
I'm
putting
not
myself-
into that. Not into that at all.
That was very distracting for me. I was trying to get away from it. I was like,
I would not like that at all. Would not be me.
No, I love it. I remember I went to a metal, it's like a metal festival in Australia called Soundwave. I went and saw Marilyn Manson, and he's like, I love Marilyn Manson's music. Him as a person, not so much, but I think he's very sexy. He's got that sex appeal, and I was right in the nosebleed section. I was so close to him, and in between songs, there was like a lull in the sound, and I screamed at the top of my lungs, Marilyn Manson, spit in my mouth. And everyone around me turned around and looked at me like I was the freak. I was the weirdo at the metal concert. I was like, hang on a minute. Wait, where are we right now? Like, you
I think it's a big achievement to be the weirdo in a metal concert.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take that crown and I'll wear it proudly.
No.
So
not
what
so
turns
much
you off,
into
Ali? What
spitting.
happened that turned you off at one point, like with some guy that you thought was weird?
Oh, okay. Look, I haven't really had. I'm not. Okay. Let me just, but I'm overwhelmed. I have too many stories.
It's fine.
I have too many stories. Okay, so I actually am not that into biting. I find it like super distracting and really annoying. So I did have a guy that was like a real biter, and it was hurting me. Like he was like indenting my skin all over my body. And the next day I was covered in bruises. I'm like, these are not sexy bruises. These are annoyed bruises. Like I just couldn't ever.
Yeah.
Like,
I had that. I don't mind biting, but this guy that I've hooked up with a few times, he keeps biting me and like he kept biting my boobs and the bruises are so bad. So the next time he hooked up, he bit my face and I got a huge bruise.
your
And I was like,
face.
yeah, you know who it is. I'll text you it. Like so hard. And I was like, stop. Like you're hurting me. And he was so out of it. And then the next day I was like, my whole face bruised up and I was like, this isn't funny. And he was like, oh my God. And I was like, he was like, I was making a purpose of not biting your boobs. So I obviously just went for your face. And I was like,
That's very
Reel
logical.
it in, mate.
I like biting, but yeah, this was really, it was like taking a chunk out of my face. I was like, no, this is
Jesus.
just really sore. Yeah, it was really painful. I was
Oh my
not into
God,
that.
that is wild.
But he's also
I
the
wanna
same
know-
person that I bite his lip and he doesn't like
I feel
that.
like
love to
I
bite.
know exactly who it is now that you've said
Yeah,
that.
you
'cause
only
you've told
know
me.
one person that I
I'm like, I
sleep
know
with,
exactly
so.
who it is. We may have seen a foot at some stage.
Shut up, Ali.
Ooh. If you listen to this, you know who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
He won't listen to this, thank God. He's like, I can't listen to the three of you waffle on. Just like fair.
Oh God, I feel you know what? Props to Benny, my boyfriend. He actually listens to all our Pita parties. He listens to all my interviews, and I'm like,
Oh.
how can you be bothered listening to me any more than you do during the day? I'm like, you're dealing with the sound of my voice all day long. You poor thing. He listens to us when he's at the gym. Like,
Oh,
oh hey Lily.
he's such a good boyfriend. Not even my friends listen to our stuff.
He is.
All
He's
my
super
friends
supportive.
listen. All my friends love it. I'm like, what?
Yeah, my friends don't listen. My sister
all
does. My
my
sister
friends
is
do.
like all over it. But yeah, none of my friends. Oh, that's really good that your friends do, Daisy.
Yeah, I was shocked at how many of my friends did. Like, I didn't ask them to. They just all text me being like, when's Pita Party out? I'm like, what? You listen?
You
And they're
care?
like, yeah. Yeah, I'm like, all right. I don't think it's because they care. I think they genuinely enjoy it. Like, I don't think they're
Oh,
trying to
that's
record
awesome.
me. I think they actually like it.
That's
The person that I
awesome.
share my
I know,
apartment
it's
with, she hasn't
shocking.
even watched the show.
She hasn't even watched the show. Yeah, my best friend hasn't
my
even
mum
watched
only,
the show.
my mum only just finished it. My sister's only watching it now. My dad watched 2 episodes. I'm like, are you gonna watch the rest? And he's like, oh, Daisy, it was really boring. But he's like, I'm really gonna try and watch it. I was like, rude.
No, I've had so many friends that have said they've warned my other friends. They're like, just skip the first 4 episodes. They're really boring episodes, but then it gets really good. I'm like, hey, we're not
You need to
boring.
watch it also, you can get into it.
yeah, exactly.
But to be
It's like-
fair to my dad, I don't think he necessarily thinks it's boring. I think he thinks reality TV is boring. But I do think he'll
it's
find
not
it funny.
It's not everyone's jam.
Because my
that's for
mum
sure.
really got into it. She was like, oh, at first as well. And then she was like, actually, that was pretty funny. So yeah, I do think it's a bit of a slow burner, but it gets there.
Yeah. I want to know if everyone has a story, a disaster story. So a time when you've had sex with a boyfriend, a fling, a one night stand, and it has just ended in disaster. Can you come up with one on a whim?
Oh,
I'm throwing this at you guys out of nowhere. Oh, I've got one already, so that's why I'm asking.
you go. I'll think about
I was like,
one. Yeah.
I'm only going to ask a question that I already have an answer to because I don't want to have to think. My ex-boyfriend and we went out to dinner at his sister's house, and she had red chilies on the table, and he was eating them. Like, he was like picking them up with his hands and eating them.
Oh,
Can you see where this is going?
yeah.
So anyway, hours later, we go home, we have sex. He obviously puts his hands inside me, and it took, like, I think it was just the friction when we started to have sex. The friction started creating that heat, and I was like, oh wow, this is like a not good feeling. I'm like, something is wrong, something is terribly wrong. And we were just, and then he's like, oh my God, I can feel it too. Pulls out, and I was like, and it just started to get heating up more and more and more, burning me more and more and more. I was like, we were like, what do we do? Oh my God, like rolling around on the bed in pain. I'm like, we have to go to emergency. This is horrible.
Oh my God.
We ended up, because I use bepanthen, which is, it's used as tattoo cream, but it's Dani, you would know it. It's like babe nappy cream, like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I use that as lip balm all the time, and I had some on the bedside table. He was like, just put this on it. And I'm like, okay. I put that, and that actually cured immediately. It was like milk when you've had something too spicy. It was just like the most soothing experience. But we were absolutely killing ourselves in laughter after. We were like, this is such a disaster moment, but I mean, it becomes a good story to tell, I guess.
God, I don't think I have any. I think I need to think about it.
Have you ever had a guy whose banjo has snapped?
No. I've
Never
had
had
friends
that.
who've had it happen to them, but no, never to
Apparently
me.
it's insanely painful.
Yeah. And it's quite like gory. I think like when my friend, it happened to my friend, there was like a lot of blood.
Yeah,
And he
it's
was like
happened to me.
screaming, and yeah, I was like, oh
with my
God.
ex from years ago. Yeah, and it was like he like jumped off and was just like like screaming at the top of his lungs and just pouring out with blood. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? I thought I'd like
that's never
killed him.
happened to me, thank God.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. We need to think about these things before.
Yeah.
I know. It just came to my mind when you said your question before. I thought, oh, that's another fun one.
Yeah.
That's another fun
I can't
one.
think about it. I'm sure I have some. I might think about it like towards the end, because I'm sure I have some weird stuff. But
well, if any of our listeners out there have some really fun stories, please send us a tweet, send us a DM on Instagram, and keep us entertained. And I mean, if you don't want us to share it, we won't be sharing names, but just we can, we might come up with some good material to be able to share with our listeners next time.
yeah, I just want to say, like, that's what scares me about dating. Not that I'm thinking about dating anytime soon, but imagine I get a weirdo that want to spit in my mouth again. I'll be like, oh fuck's sake, just wasted all this time with this guy.
Yeah, it's horrific. That's what I hate about, like, obviously I'm single and I hate it because like I build up something with someone, it doesn't work out with them, and then I have so much shit, weird sex. For me, it's the smiling. I cannot get over how many guys smile at me during sex.
That is so weird. I don't feel like I get that.
Oh, it's so weird. And I'm like, stop it. And they're like towering over me, like smiling. And I'm like, oh God, I'm like, stop it. But yeah, that's what's awful about being single. That's the thing I hate most about it. It's so much shit sex you need to sift through. And it takes such a long time to get to a point where you both enjoy each other and you know what each other likes. And it's so rare you get that on the first, second or third time. And yeah,
I'm always in between, like, should we have sex already and then get this out of the way so I know you're not a weirdo, I know you don't have any weird preferences, and then we know if we're compatible, or you wait and get to know each other and then go for sex, and then the sex is shit, and then you're like, fuck, waste my time. So
yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I can't wait, so I always have sex straight away, so I can't really it's not really
don't tell
really
too many people that, Daisy.
I'm like, oh my God, they want to have sex. So I'm like, right, let's go quick before he changes his mind. But it is a good point. I do see your point.
I get immediately.
I think. No, go on, Ali.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, I get immediately turned off when the sex is bad, no matter what sort of connection. I mean, thus, like, far in my lifetime, obviously, I'm with the one now. But in the past, I've never had an experience where bad sex or sex that I haven't had sexual chemistry with has been something that it just immediately turns me off. It turns me off everything. No, they could be the greatest guy, the funniest guy, like, but I'll just be.
But that's
I don't think
but
you,
that's
you
the
I
kind of
don't think
key
you can
word.
change that.
Yeah,
You know,
you
like
That's the
can't
when
kind of
you've
key
had
word,
sex,
sexual
that's it.
chemistry.
Yeah,
But if you have sexual chemistry,
you
see
can't
if
learn
you
that.
don't, yeah, but if you have that and you build that up, if the sex is shit, I think you can kind of get past that. Like, I think it's all about communication. So you can say like, oh, I'm not really, that's why it's too difficult to have a good one night stand, because you're never going to communicate with them. You kind of just both kind of go with the flow, and then it ends up probably being horrific. Whereas when you know someone and you have awesome sexual chemistry, you can kind of communicate a bit, but like there's better rhythm between the two of you, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I remember a story now.
Oh, good.
Just very quick. So I met this guy. He was a singer. I love musicians for some reason. I love like bands and stuff like that. So he was a singer in a nightclub, and I saw him, and then I went to talk to him, and we ended up going to my place. And I love hairs. I love guy with long hair, and I love touching hair. You know, I love hair. And I went to touch his hair, and he wouldn't let me. And I was like, that's strange. And then he had a fake hair thing. There was like a wig or something, but it was like glued to his head.
Oh, it's like
I don't know what
that's a toupee. That's a
kind of
toupee,
like that.
isn't it?
Oh my
It's not like
god.
what Donald Trump has.
Oh my god, it was horrible. That turned me off a lot. That I think that's a bit weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I get that. I know a guy who said that he gets massively turned off by girls with hair extensions, because when they go to have sex and he puts his hand in their hair and he's like, oh God, what is that? I think if he doesn't know that they're there, he's like, oh my God, there's something in their hair. So I get
It is
that.
quite
When you're
terrifying.
kind of
I used to have hair extensions, and it was my biggest fear is if someone would try and put their hands through my hair, it'd be like, yeah, no, don't touch me. Because it's like, it's not a nice
it
feeling.
doesn't
If
feel
anyone's
that,
ever, if anyone's ever put their hands through hair extensions before, oh, it's horrid.
You know, I always wonder that, because like even my hair, I touch my hair so much, and I put my fingers through my hair so much, and I always wonder if you have hair extensions and you're gonna go have sex and the guy doesn't know, and he puts his fingers through it and then he pulls it out.
yeah,
I've had
apparently
a
it's
friend-
not a sexy look.
I've had a
But
friend
so
who
it's
was
kind of like the
literally-
toupee. Sorry.
Yeah.
kind of. I've had a friend who was literally, she was on top, like riding this guy, and she wears a halo, which is like, if people don't know, it's like a string of hair extension with like a band over it, and you put it over the crown of your head. So she had this halo on, and it has little clips, but it can slip off really easily. So she was on top, and she was like riding this guy, and she was like, she could feel her hair extension falling out. She's like, I need to get this out of my head. So she did it in a sexy way. She grabs her hair extension and rips it off as if she's like a cowgirl and throws it away. And the guy was like, what the
Oh my
fuck is
God.
going on? And she told me this story, and I'm like, you didn't. You actually can't be serious. That is not sexy in any realm. That's not going to work.
I
Well,
cannot
did they
imagine
keep
that being
having
sexy
sex?
at all.
Did they finish?
Yeah, they did. Good on her. Good on him for finishing. But like, very bold move.
Well, I suppose
God,
what are you
that's
going to
so
do?
funny.
I mean, you're kind of. I mean, either way, she was going to say, "Oh, I'm back in a second." Stopped, went out, and half her hair was
Yeah.
missing. I mean, either way, it was like.
could be just as awkward.
Yeah,
Imagine
may
her
as well
getting
just
up the
own
next
it.
morning, and it's like on the bedroom floor. Like, she's got dark brunette hair, by the way, so it's like strewn on the bedroom floor or something.
I
Not
know.
hot.
Yeah, no, yeah, just own it. Yeah, no, I think she did the best. It was the best solution.
Yeah, she definitely owned it. That's probably why they managed to finish, because confidence is key.
Yeah,
Confidence
100%.
totally
gets you through
agree.
all the awkward situations.
100%.
Yeah. So I think that, I mean, this has been a pretty fun topic, but we have quite a few really interesting topics to come up with for the rest of our podcast career. We will be delving into a lot more personal stories we'll be discussing an array of really fun topics. And next week's episode, we're going to be talking about cheating and times when men have been caught, or women, or maybe us, could be us, have been caught sending inappropriate texts. So I think that will be a fun one. I'm excited to chat with you guys about it.
Yeah, it's so much fun talking about cheating.
I have so many stories.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear your stories, Daisy.
And if you guys listening, just send us some suggestions as well. Tweet us, say what you think, say what you think we could do better or whatever. We all are just starting this, obviously, so we might not listen to your suggestion at all, but just send it anyways.
Savage.
Just keeping it real.
Yeah, no, I do we get really good feedback from everyone for our Pita party, so I do hope that we still get the same amount of interaction, because it's been really fun replying to people's comments. Us three are always on the reply. We always read everything, well, pretty much everything that we get commented. So we're totally open to interacting with our listeners. It's a part of the fun.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Lily agrees.
Cool.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
We'll catch you next week.
Bye. Bye.